Aurelio and Mayra. Appreciate you meeting with us today. And it's so excited about this project, the portrait of a power couple. Honestly, you guys were the one of the couples that inspired me to do this project because when we met in December at NADA, I happened to meet you all, and I was like, oh, this is a really cool couple, and really, seems like they got their stuff together here. And then I was outside, and obviously, Dalezine was there, and I spoke with Steve and Lillian, and I was like, oh, it's two couples, like interesting in the art realm at the same place. And then throughout Art Week, I kept encountering couples, and I was like, holy smokes, this would be like a really cool thing to do. But you guys were one of the first couples that inspired me to think about this, the impetus of this project. So it's cool to be able to talk to you first. And sorry for just unloading so much here, but
no, thank you. We're excited. It was great meeting you at Art Week as well. And when you told us about this project, we were super interested in taking part.
Very cool. What came first for you, working together or becoming a couple?
Well, we were a couple for a long time before we decided to work together. So we've been together since 2009 and been married since 2012. So, but the gallery started in 2021, kind of in the middle of the pandemic. It was an idea that I've had for a long time, since working in the art world in New York. And the idea for a nomadic gallery with a little overhead that would allow us to stage exhibitions in odd places, what we call experimental odd spaces. So I had this idea brewing for a long time, and it took different names, different manifestations, but it was until we decided to partner together that it actually started taking root and becoming something real. So without Mayra, it would be impossible, because she's the one that organizes everything. And these crazy ideas that I have, they work only because we do it together,
Very cool. And Mayra, do you have like a background in art as well?
I don't have a background in art. I've always been an art enthusiast, but I went to school to be an early childhood educator, and I did that for many years. But when I moved to New York, I just did a lot of different things, a lot of managerial work that just helps me. All those tools that I learned help me do homework in a more organized way. Yeah. But no, I don't. But I've always been very exposed to it through Aurelio. So yeah, and I've always had big interest in the art world.
Very cool. And so you have different roles in homework. Can you tell me about, I guess, Mayra, you are more of you take care of sort of the red tape stuff, I guess, would you say? Or?
Yeah. I help with a lot of the managerial aspects of homework, so accounting and organizing the events and outreach and things and anything. It's a small business, so my hands go into almost everything. But when it comes to concepts and curation and things like that, that's definitely
your role, right?
Yeah. So the mission of Homework is to do intentional exhibitions. That's why we kind of do them sometimes sporadically, because we like we like having a theme that we like to do a deep dive and then include emerging artists or mid-career artists that fit into this theme. And then while we have the exhibition open, we like having activations to bring in the community, be it panels, screenings, performances, a bunch of stuff. But it all revolves around one mission during that short period of time. And I kind of cook up these concepts and then start always looking at artists in the meantime, and then this artist would work perfectly there. And then we go into full production mode. But it all revolves around an idea that I started developing and exploring, and to have an intention behind the exhibition, not just having art ups.
Sure, that makes sense. Yeah.
And and it's been evolving. So we just recently started doing art fairs, which is something that we were doing parallel. We existed parallel to, like during Art Week, we would do parallel exhibitions by ourselves. But now this year we decided to kind of do both. So we did Nada, and at the same time we had a parallel exhibition called Hormiga Caribe, which focused on Caribbean artists. And now we're kind of taking another step in a more permanent direction. We just got like a semi-permanent space in Little River, and we're exploring the art fair circuit a little bit more. So we're going to the DR now at the end of March for an art fair over there. We opened a semi-permanent space in April, sometime in April. And then we go to New York for our art week over there, art month actually, at the beginning of art month, and we're going to be at Future Fair over there.
Wow.
So it's kind of been evolving, but it all goes around this idea of doing intentional exhibitions to platform emerging artists during critical times of the art world calendar, and as a way to involve the community while we're active.
And how do you locate the artists that you work with?
It varies. I mean, for the first exhibition, we just reached out to a bunch of friends of ours from the DR, and some of them and some artists that we met here. But we've done shows in Miami that are only local artists that we meet along the way, be it at parties or restaurants or even through Instagram. Instagram has been a great source. Studio visits to places like Bakehouse or Fountainhead when it was still going. And it just varies. We see people, we think, oh, we're working on this theme, this artist would be great for this, and then reach out to them.
We've had artists reach out to us.
We've had artists, which is always, that was like our first, one of our first proud moments when artists started reaching out to us to work with us. Because it was kind of a validation because they liked what we did, and so that's been happening as well. So it's kind of, it varies a lot how we find artists, but it's always goes, the ones that we pick for the show goes around the theme, and if they don't, we keep them in mind for something else.
And so you kind of started working this concept in New York. You were an artist there at the time when you were living there?
No, I went to art school here in Miami first.
Really?
And we went to New York over a decade ago for a wedding, and I found this place that does. I was looking to do an MFA or expand my artistic career, and living in Miami, I got to see what Art Basel was, what Art Week was, and I got interested in that side of the art world. So I did a master's up in New York. This place that I found when we went for the wedding called Sotheby's Institute of Art. And there I got like a deep dive, intense dive in a short period of time of what the art world mechanism was. And right after that, I started working at galleries. I helped a group of investors set up a gallery over there, and I saw what it took to do all that. And that's where the idea came, because I saw the high, crazy price of overhead of having a permanent space, especially in New York. So I saw that the art world has a certain rhythm and a certain calendar that people follow, and that you have to be active if you want to make it in this place. So the idea of being nomadic came, why don't we just exist during these key times? And it kind of started developing after that. Then the pandemic hit, and in the middle of the pandemic, we said, let's start during Art Basel Miami Beach 2021. And that was where it took off. But everything was born in New York. Like all the ideas were born in New York, walking, seeing how the art world functioned. Because over there, it's like, I mean, it's the center of the art world, and it's on steroids. So, so what happens there is kind of like it creates a blueprint for what can happen anywhere, you know?
True story, yeah, it's really cool. And Mayra, did you guys meet here in Miami when you first, and was it the Dominican connection or what?
We met in the island. We were friends for years, and then he moved away, and I just kept in touch. I always thought he was just the sweetest human, so smart. So we always just like kept in touch as friends, and then we reconnected one summer. He was there visiting. I didn't really know he was visiting. I was very excited to see him. And then we just started talking. We talked for about 3 months, 6 months, and I said, he expressed some interest.
Yeah.
And I said, I think I should go to Miami, and he was living here, and see what's up. Yeah, and then I came, I stayed with him, and after that we were inseparable. I moved here maybe 6 months after I quit my job. I'm American, so it was very easy for me to
dual citizenship, I guess.
to move here, and then that was it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow, what a sweet story. That's very romantic.
Yeah.
And who came up with the name Homework? And can you tell me a little bit about the story behind that?
Yeah, the name was always an issue, and admittedly, it was something that stopped me from pursuing the project, because I think the name of a gallery for me is super important. So I came up with a bunch of names, and none of them worked. And then I go on these long walks around the neighborhood where I come up with a lot of ideas. And around that same time, it was when Daft Punk was breaking up. And I was like, damn, Daft Punk has been like a seminal presence in our lives for so long. And that first album of theirs is called Homework. I'm like, damn, that's a great name for a gallery. And once I came up with the name, we were off to the races with the gallery, because there was no more excuses, I guess.
Yeah. That's cool. That's a really cool story.
Thanks.
And you guys have a few artists that you represent that show with you often, like Richard, for example. And I know you all did a show with him at the Noxon a while back. Yeah. Is there any other artists that you represent? And how many do you guys have under the Homework umbrella as like?
Well, in terms of representation, we work closely with a lot of artists, but they don't have a certain like exclusivity that comes with representation. But we do have a group of artists that have become dear friends of ours that we love growing together. So Richard is one of them. Julian is another one that we've done a bunch of shows with and have plans for the future as well with Richard. Patricia Encarnacion is one that we work with a lot as well. Beth Rhodes is a good friend of ours, and we also work with her a lot. But yeah, I guess there's a bunch of them, but as under the Homework umbrella as type of representation, formal representation, we still don't have that, because as a nomadic gallery, it's kind of hard to navigate that world. But we do have artists that have pieces exclusively consigned to us for certain periods of time, and they make work and then we consign them. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a flexible representation, I would say.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Really neat. Have something planned for your opening here when you open the new space? I just thought...
yeah, well,
that's going to be in April, or
it's going to be in April, sometime in April. We get the space on the 1st, and then we start hopefully installing right away or finishing developing the idea. But I have an idea. I'm not sure if I want to say it yet.
No problem.
It's still a work in progress, but yeah, it should be.
Is there a lot of work to do inside, like as far as like?
Not really.
Not initially. I think it's
when you guys had the
good to go.
Hormiga Caribe there, it looked like it was pretty well finished.
Yeah. I'm sure that we will tweak a few things.
Make it more your own, I guess.
Right. But we're used to going into spaces and working with what we have, and
like that Richard show, Trains of Thought. Cool. It was in a space that was totally kind of destroyed inside. There was no floors, like it was uneven floors, but we made it work. I mean, and it went at the end. When you look at the pictures of the exhibition, it goes perfectly with the artwork.
Right.
But yeah, we're used to like working with the conditions that we get and just.
Exactly.
And just doing it. Something that I wanted to mention. That's also something that we're working on right now, and we're really proud of as well. The city has reached out to us to curate a show. It's like a pilot program they're doing to curate shows, reaching out to individuals to organize shows at different branches of the library, using the library's permanent collection.
No way. Yeah.
Which is amazing, because we go in there and we start finding these treasures that we had no idea were there.
And they probably forgot about them.
And it's not all completely digitized, so we're kind of like helping that process, pulling out works that they'll digitize, and then we will We're working on
Is that with Oscar? Or
with
Yeah.
Oscar,
Yeah.
Fuentes,
Yeah.
yeah. We're working on a show revolving around immigration and immigrant artists that they have in their collection.
Oh, that's so cool.
So that'll be in October.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Oscar's a great guy.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah, he's great. He was great to reach out to us, and then
Yeah.
we've been going almost weekly and pulling out stuff, and
Nice.
he talks to us about the works and how this artist got to the States, and yeah, we decided last week it's going to be immigration focused. It's just such a touchy subject, especially during election years.
Yeah.
And I'm an immigrant. Mayra's the daughter of immigrants. It's just such an important topic, and we want to tackle it in a unique way. And
It's gonna be
it's
cool.
going to open in October before the election, so hopefully it'll be
Main branch first? Is that right?
not the main branch. It's going to be at the Westchester branch.
Okay. No, that's
What we liked about it is that it's a big space, and we're going to be able to activate it with the things we do, panels and
Yeah.
performances and stuff like that. So
cool. Very cool.
that should be interesting. That starts in October
So
and runs
cool.
through December, I think.
Oh yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like we met Oscar randomly one day at the library, and we told him about our story, and then he reached out to us like a few days later with this idea that he has.
Love that. It's a really cool concept too of the immigration thing. And as a couple, what would you say your greatest accomplishment is? Something that you have done together here as a couple.
I don't know. I think our daughter.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
She's amazing. She's a really good kid.
Yeah.
Very sensitive and very
Artistic.
very artistic. Yes. Yeah. She's like really respectful to everyone around her, but not in a submissive way, which is good to see. Yeah, and I think it's just both of our personalities, how we've acted around her, and the things that we've told her that have made her become this little human, which is really lucky.
Yeah, and she really kind of like grounds us in this is a business that's very, you can get swallowed by it in terms of the big massive egos that are around you and how to navigate it. And I don't know, there's a lot of mixed feelings about it, especially the formal art world, which is something that we kind of like want to be a parallel to sometimes. And sometimes when I'm consumed with it and Lola comes in, it kind of grounds me. It's like, yeah, but this is just art. It's just the art. Well, who gives a shit? I don't know if I can curse. Like this is more important. Like having her be around all this art and these artists and these concepts that we're exploring is more important than the business side of it. And seeing her grow in this world is just amazing, because it's something that I would have loved. I came from a very artistic household as well, so it's kind of great to see that she's kind of taking that to another level, being more immersed in art and everything that goes with it.
That's really neat, the exposure she's getting, and it sounds like you're good parents, both of you.
Oh, thanks.
Good teamwork here.
Thank you.
Well, you guys, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us today and allow us into your home, and really appreciate you all. And we look forward to seeing the new space and seeing what you all do.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure to be a part of this project.
Definitely.
Very exciting.